Ready as we'll ever be.
Yeah, I'm ready as I'll ever be too.
Ready as I'll ever be. And I even have an audience already.
You do? Well, hello and welcome everybody to another one of our demonstrations. Today I'm with Carolyn, Concho and Alisha Sanchez, both from Acoma. Hi, nice to see you. It's a pleasure. Can you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves or what you do and how long you've been doing this?
Oh gosh, okay, I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
My name is Carolyn Concho, and I have been doing pottery for over 35 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
I enjoy it so much, and I'm actually known for the three-dimensional pottery, which is I put a little relief on each one of my pots.
Awesome. And Alisha?
I'm Alisha. I'm Carolyn Concho's daughter-in-law, my teacher.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
and mentor.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. She's the one who taught me how to do pottery. I've been doing pottery maybe like a little over 10 years.
Awesome.
And, you know, in the beginning, this is something that I wasn't sure that I would be able to, I guess, excel in because it was so difficult, the learning process.
It's not easy.
Yes, I was like, I cannot do this. But
But
with
I
a
kept
lot of
encouraging her.
encouragement, I finally got to where I'm at now. And I'm mostly known for my three-dimensional butterflies.
Oh, nice. Well, wonderful. What are you guys going to do for us today?
Well, we can start by kind of letting everyone know the materials that we use.
Sure.
It is shale clay that is mined there at the Acoma Pueblo. We gather it, soak it, and then we sun dry it, and then we grind it, sift it to a very fine powder form, and then we're actually, after it's all ready to go, then we're ready to form the pieces. I do this is actually, let me show you what it looks like.
Oh, you have one.
So, yeah, the color of the clay is gray. And then we form the pot. So my tools aren't fancy. I use this plastic, I think it's used for painters. But I form the pot and then I'm ready to shape the pot. And that's just done by pattern. And you work in different stages of the clay when it dries, so it'll become firm and it's easy to work with.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you make one half by hand, and
Yes,
then you
I
make
do.
the other half by hand,
Exactly.
and then you marry the two halves
Exactly,
together.
I do. And that's what I'm doing here by putting them together along the sides.
And who taught you how to do this?
I actually give all my sisters credit. I have, there's 5 of us actually, 5 sisters, and we're all potters.
Nice.
So the eldest is Rebecca Lucario, and then there's Marilyn Ray, there's Diane Lewis, and then I come next, and then Judy Lewis is the youngest sister, but we're all potters. We all have our own style of work, and mine, like I said, is the three-dimensional style. So it's just, now that my clay is a little bit soft, so you form it and then you let it dry for a while, then it's just a matter of picking it back up and working with it. So I'll work on several pieces. So like Derek said, I do actually do 2 pieces and then I put them together.
And what's your favorite part about doing pots?
Oh gosh, painting.
What? Painting?
Painting.
Yep.
I love painting the pottery.
And
I
what's
don't like making them, but
Okay.
I sure love painting them.
So in making them is your least favorite part?
Actually, I shouldn't say that. The least favorite is processing the clay.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but this is how I put them together. So it's really jagged on the edges, but I put 2 bows together. That's how I form them.
Do you have help for digging and cleaning the clay?
My husband George does the gathering of the clay, and I'm really picky with processing the clay because I don't add pot shards.
Oh, interesting.
Into my clay. So I make it as fine as I can get it. With the larger pieces, you can use the pot shards, but my choice is not to because it's a lot of, when you water polish it, a lot of the little clay, the little stones in there will come up to the surface. And if you can process your clay and sift it almost like flour, then you won't get those. But they still tend to get through that screen. But
All right,
that's how
I got questions for Alisha now.
Okay.
What's your favorite part about doing pots?
Painting.
Painting, same thing?
Same thing.
And what's
painting.
your least favorite part about doing pots?
I don't mind the processing too much. I guess it's like a workout for me. But I would say making.
Making?
Making is a lot of work.
Yep.
So I try and do as many as I can when I make, so that way I don't have to keep going back and making. So that would be mine. Is I enjoy the painting. The making is difficult, but I guess at the same time when you're making, it's kind of exciting to see how each piece is going to turn out, so that way you can work on it once you start your painting.
So when you're making them, do you have an idea of what you're going to do completely? Is it all planned out before you even start?
Sometimes, yes, sometimes when you're making, the piece doesn't always make it through.
Yep.
So I could have it shaped, and then I pick it up too early and it's still really wet and it ends up crumbling on me, and I'm like, oh great, so I have to start all over again.
It's not an easy process.
It also depends on the weather. So if it's raining that day, it takes a lot longer to make. Because
the clay has to get to like a leather hard stage before you can really work with it. So for instance, Carolyn, how long had those 2 halves been sitting out?
I formed these yesterday.
Yesterday.
And then I just wrapped them in a cloth to bring them up. Because if we just started it, then it'll take more hours to try and put these together. So that's kind of how I shape it. And then I just use my finger and my thumb, and I'll just kind of look in the center, and I'm forming the bottom.
So does anyone here have any questions? Not yet? Anyone? Questions?
Yes, we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Oh, so I see you have a little light there. Do you need extra light to paint?
I'm in a little dark area, so yes, I normally like to paint in the sunlight.
Okay.
Because you can see all your mistakes. But I brought the light because
just in case,
and I'm glad I did.
Oh, good. We could move some
You should bring
overhead
a
lights if
scraper?
you need us to.
I did.
So these pieces are all by Carolyn that are right over here. On the table over there are Alisha's pieces. Unfortunately, we had sold out of Alisha's, so everything that's on the table is all new. So we don't have them on our website yet, but you're more than welcome to go take a look. We're getting price tags on them now.
That's
so.
fine.
Okay.
I just needed a hole in
But
it.
yeah, these are Carolyn's works that are right here.
I see the picture.
Yep.
She's on a roll. It takes me much longer than that.
Well, she's had many years, I mean, what, 25 more years of
Yes.
experience?
Yeah.
But you know, it's one of those things where it takes a long time to get really good at this.
Yes. Yes. I enjoy watching her.
Does Carolyn ever tell you what to do, or does she just let you watch and you learn from watching?
In the beginning, it was a lot of trial and error, but still, I still come to her with a lot of questions, like, did I do this right? What am I doing wrong? Why can't I get, a certain piece how I want it? Or so then she'll help guide me and show me the steps I need to take and say, well, it's still too wet to pick up, and that tends to be my mistake a lot.
It is not enough
Yes.
patience.
Yes, because I just want to get it done, and I think that's my I guess my weak point when I do pottery is I just want to get it made so I can start painting it. But what I try to do is I try to make, and then even if I still have pieces to paint, I'll still make, so that way pieces are made, and then once I'm done painting, I can just pick it up and start, cleaning it, and then put an Ipsha on it and start painting it.
So you have a piece that is with you now. What have you done so far to it?
Well, these two here, my seed pots with the butterflies, they both need Ipsha on them before I can start painting them.
The white
Okay.
slip.
The white slip.
It's right
So
there.
once I put the white slip on, then I'll shine them, and then after they're shined, then I can start painting them.
Okay.
But I do have a plate that's still in the raw stage too that I wanted to put butterflies on, because I get a lot of people asking me, well, how do you do your butterflies? And with my butterflies, I have to hand form each wing, so I know that's always,
Well, I would love to see that if
Yeah.
you're ready.
Sure,
There's no rush.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you guys come up with the designs, or when you ladies come up with the designs, it's already kind of pre-planned in your head what you're going to do. Well, sort of.
Kind of,
For the
Kind
yes.
most part, yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
But are butterflies your favorite thing, or why did you choose butterflies?
Butterflies are special to me because of my grandmother.
Okay.
My grandma, she loved butterflies, and when she passed away, that just always stuck with me. And maybe not last year, but about a year and a half ago, I lost my dad.
Sorry to
And
hear it.
they became even more special to me. So that's, I've never been able to go away from the butterflies. That's why I always come back to the butterflies, and they just stick with me.
Well, that's good to know. That's something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
but it's wonderful to see. What you do is very beautiful and very precise and very exacting. And so, I'm always curious to see,
Yes.
because my greatest thing that I have with all the different potters that are here in the shop is that everybody effectively has the same tools. And
Yeah.
the difference of what comes out of everybody's head is wildly different, one person to the next person to the next person. And you all have the same tools, and we can just recognize whose pots are whose immediately just by how they look or
Yeah.
how they feel.
Yes.
And it's, and I think that that's the wonderful part about all of it.
And for me, I feel like with the butterflies, I feel like I'm incorporating a piece of, a piece of my grandmother and a piece of my father into each piece. So it's always hard to see them leave, but it's like they're going out and they're sending all these blessings and happiness to everyone else that's, intrigued, or it has, and I found that it has different meaning to so many different individuals. A lot of butterflies represent, transition. So if they're going through something, it's representative of what new life they're transitioning into. So that's always nice to hear. I think that's one of my favorite parts about it is all the wonderful people you get to meet.
And that's actually my favorite part as well, is getting to meet all of the people who produce it and all of the people who are interested in it. Because what I really think is that what we're doing is we're connecting two cultures through an object.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Yep. You can we can put them on any one of these pedestals. So we have some of Alisha's work that is now coming out.
This is
If you
still
want to take a look.
too wet.
And I think I always enjoy seeing everyone's art because everyone is so talented in different ways, and everyone does such beautiful work. And even her sisters, I love seeing what they do, and I always am excited to see Judy's work because she's always creating something different. And you know,
Yeah.
George, his pieces are very unique too. I'm always excited to see what he's going to create.
Well, I'm always excited when all the sisters come in because there is quite a bit of laughter that exists between all the sisters.
Giggling,
My mom, for the longest time, has called you guys the Giggle Sisters.
Yep.
But yeah,
They're
it's
still
really
a little too wet.
yep.
But that's how I form.
That's how you form them.
And then I just have to let them dry because they're still a little too wet, but you get an idea of how they're formed.
So I see that your hands are in the clay all the time.
Yes.
Do you have to use some sort of special moisturizer, or how do you take care of your skin? Because the clay is actually really tough
gosh.
on people's skin.
We call it mom's lotion.
Does she make it for you?
No. She used to buy the Jergens lotion, and we always wondered why she would just use a little. It comes to it's called Jergens. And I actually brought some because I don't like my hands dry. But that's all we need.
That's all you need?
And that's how I'll put on them. Because when you pick up the dry piece, it's an awful feeling on your hands.
It kind of sucks the moisture right out of your
But
hands.
you can't like put one on it right away, so I'll try and get most of it off. Because you don't want it to get onto your pot.
No, you definitely don't.
No.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to adjust a few things.
Okay. So this is what the pot looks like in the raw stage. This one's all dried and ready to go. So the next step I do is apply a white slip. That's also
that's fine.
mined. It's a clay form, and we call it in our language. It's a white slip that we apply.
So that hasn't been fired yet?
No, it has not been fired, yes. So I usually put like 2 coats on here, and I'm gonna try and get this one polished. You kind of have to let it dry for a while. And then we burnish it with a rock. So as soon as this dries a little bit more, then I can burnish it. You got to let it dry because I applied 2 coats here. So from this part, I'll have to let it dry. Then I'm still going to scrape for lightness. So you try and get them as light as you can, and then actually really form the way it's going to be formed. Yeah, and it's just by scraping them. And we do save all our scrapings. We never toss the clay out. It's always re-grinded and reused again.
And you just turn it and turn it and turn it.
Yes. Yes.
Because I noticed the one with no hole looks like a tortoise shell.
Oh yeah, it does. Right.
Or like a spaceship.
Right.
It's the end.
And that's what it looks like. And then this, I can choose to put whatever animal. Sometimes I'll put the hummingbird, or I'll put the wing of the butterfly on top, or the head of the lizard, like it's looking into the pot. But that's what I like about my work, is because never two the same. My designs are never identical. Each one is very unique by whatever I choose to put on it. I mean, I can do many lizards, I can do many butterflies, I can do many dragonflies, but it's the actual painting. So my designs kind of tell a little story to all of them.
We have known Carolyn for many, many years. Oh gosh, I don't even know how many. Probably most of my life.
Yes, I remember when Derek was just
That kid.
a little kid. Yep.
You have any questions for Carolyn? Nope. Okay. No worries. Yeah, no worries. You're welcome to get closer and take a look.
Yes, yes. I don't mind. It doesn't make me nervous.
And we're working on getting out all the pieces that they just brought to us as well. Just gotta check. And if anybody who is out there watching has any questions for Carolyn or Alisha, you can definitely just enter them into the chat and we will get them asked for you live on the air. We're going to only be live for about 40-ish more minutes so that we can keep working and going on here in the gallery. So do you guys work at home together?
Yes.
Do you share the same kitchen table? What's your area?
Yes,
that you
we
work?
do. Kitchen table.
Kitchen table. That's a common spot.
And the like we both said, the painting is probably the best part because we're so excited to see what we've our designs are what they've come out with, and it's just amazing how Alicia's line work and what the designs are going to actually come out to. So a lot of praying goes into when you put them into the fire, and you want them to come out nice because you worked so hard on the particular piece.
Nothing's fired until after.
Right. The firing is last, yes.
I had a piece I was working on one time. It was a plate, probably a little bigger than this. It was all line work, and I went to go put it in the kiln, and I was holding it. I thought I was being careful. Maybe I was being a little too careful, and I turned and I hit into the chair, and it shattered.
Oh.
I was so
Yeah.
devastated.
So
Yes.
speaking of that sort of event, how many with pots that you make? There's obviously going to be some sort of a loss rate that is with them from accidents or breaking in the firing.
Yes.
What would you guys estimate that you go through all the effort of making and then the pieces are then lost afterwards?
We try and
Limit that, I'm sure.
we try. I mean,
But
we
it
check,
happens,
but
yeah.
sometimes, like even I put like such a small hole in my seat pot sometimes, and this white slip will go in there, and I sometimes forget to check it. So I try and check them all the time. But when we do, because my seat pots, you got to have a hole in them for the air to escape, and there is times where they have, popped in the firing. So Alisha will tell me, I'll keep that one, or if she has a flaw in the firing, I'll keep your plate. But we try really hard to almost just inspect the finished piece before it goes into the firing.
And you guys do fire in a kiln?
Yes, we do. You have better control of your temperature of the heat. So you start at a low, and then a medium, and then to the high firing.
And how many pieces will you fire at once?
I try and go probably from 8 to 10 pieces because mine are pretty small.
But with the larger pieces, it's probably like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
about 3 or 4. And I don't like polishing either. It takes forever. But you want to get it as smooth as you can because your paintbrush will glide very easily.
And where'd you get your polishing stones from?
I got these at a little curio shop. They had them And I'm really picky at them because when you find them, it's got to be able to fit right into your hand where you have control of the polishing. So when I pick them, I'll see am my thumb going to go there. And then I also have a really thin one because I polished that around the three-dimensional piece. You don't want to knock it off.
And we get this question all the time.
Okay?
And I'm going to try to get an answer, but I've never actually had somebody be able to
Okay.
answer this. Is about how long does it take you to make one?
That, of course, we're not going to answer that one. You're never going to get an answer.
Yeah,
You don't
we haven't
know
gotten an answer
because
from anyone.
it's hard to give you an actual, and we get that all the time. At all the shows that we go to, they say, about how long did that take? Well, from putting in a load of laundry to doing cooking or getting the grandchildren on the bus, you can't total all those hours. I'll work on one, then I'll put it down, and it's time to do something and pick it back up. So it's really hard. I never actually just sat and did one entire piece. You can't because if you know your lines are going to touch, put it down and pick up another one. Otherwise, it's just going to, there's days where you got to be in the mood to do it. There's days where you just don't feel like it. So if my painting isn't going to go right, then I'm going to polish that day.
So
Okay?
that's about the answer that we've gotten from everybody.
Yes.
And the way that I try to explain it to everyone is that artists are artists, not timekeepers. And, you know, they're not punching a time. You're not at home punching a time
Right.
clock and
We
saying,
have
"Oh,
our
I have
own
14
hours."
minutes to paint this one section," or "I have 14 minutes to do this or
Yes.
that." But many pieces are in progress over time, and you're working on many pieces all at once, and so it's really hard to estimate how many hours go into
Yes.
everything that you do. And that's kind of my explanation for it, because I've talked to lots of people about it. But again, I have never gotten an artist to give me a definitive answer on that
Right.
one.
So the paint that I use is an iron oxide, and we find these in the water washers, the little streams that we have. And then I grind them onto this larger rock here. And a lot of Acoma potters are known to use the wild bee wheat plant, and that smells horrible if you don't let it dry out and you cover it.
Well,
So
I've heard
use
that smells pretty bad just in your kitchen when you have to cook
so
it down.
I use beet juice.
Oh, you use beet juice.
I boil the beets to a real sticky substance. And that's kind of how the spinach juice will dry. But that's what I add into my paint as a temper. So today I'm going to paint the lizard. The lizard, how I've known the lizard to me is the good luck and curiosity symbol, because he's everywhere.
All the time.
All the time. So let me see if I can see the painting. I mean, the light in isn't that great, but
Do we need better light for you?
no, I think I'll be okay.
Are you
I'm just
sure?
gonna, yes,
Make do.
we'll make
We
do.
can make that happen.
We'll make do with what Derek gave me here.
You got to give me hell all the time.
I always have to keep you on your toes, Derek.
Yep, that's right.
So is there any chance of erasing making a mistake at this point?
We always make mistakes here. But I kind of fix them by putting them into the design. That's what I like about my style of work, is I can turn it into anything. There's other people, like my sister Rebecca, where she has a pattern piece that she's working on, where that pattern has to go continuously around the plate or a pot. But with mine, it's very different. And gosh, I just enjoy my style of painting.
We've done several demonstrations with Rebecca and all of her sisters. And the way that I've seen them erase things is they just take a very sharp tool.
Right.
And they can scratch very, very lightly off the surface and fix a small problem pretty quickly.
But if we have a larger piece where you have to scrape a lot, you always have to reapply the white slip and reburnish it. Otherwise, it'll show in the firing process, and you don't want that.
Yeah.
I think the part that's the most fun is just watching these take shape.
So it actually goes on like a reddish brown, but it'll fire looking black.
Really close to black. It's a brownie. It's a
Yeah.
very, it's almost black. It has a little bit of brown to it.
Right.
And how did you figure out how to use the beet juice?
Well, I didn't like the smell of and then if we don't, the smell of the spinach, and then if we don't have the rain, which we rarely get, then the spinach plant don't grow. So my sisters and I were saying, okay, well, what are we gonna add to it? And there was a lady that was actually teaching at the university, and she was thinking of different tempers, and we were thinking, well, what's red? Because we thought we'd think of something that was red because the paint is like a reddish brown. So we came up with the beet juice, and it worked. A lot of my paints are just, they're natural sand pigments. So it's always straight to a clay form. So I do a lot of experimenting with the different sands.
Do you have a color that's your favorite to work with that seems to go on easier than others?
I like the orange, and there's many shades of orange because that's the only one I can polish. The one that's the least one is goes on yellow, but it'll fire dark red, and that's the ladybugs.
Interesting.
So a lot of them will change in the firing process.
So what are you working on, Alisha?
I'm just trying to get it as smooth as I can so I can start putting on my wings.
Oh, awesome.
It's actually in the right state to do that now. So,
Awesome.
Yes.
And do you use rainwater, tap water?
It has
Any
to
kind
be,
of water?
It has to be the rainwater.
And what happens when you don't use rainwater?
You get a lot of the buildup around it. What is in there? Alkaline? The deposits of the water. And with the rainwater, it's so smooth.
Do you guys have any questions? Are these hand-built? Yep, every single thing in the gallery is all built through the coil method and by hand. And there's not one thing in here that's wheel thrown or machine cast in any way,
Yes.
shape, or form. And it's so fun to see all the different people work.
So this is how I do my wings.
Oh, that's how you do your wings?
I get a little piece of clay
Yep.
and roll it into kind of a ball.
All right, hold on one second, okay? Hold that thought for 1 second, Alisha.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
Okay. And then I pinch each side lightly. And you can kind of see it start to take form. But I also have to keep it a little moist because it'll dry because it's just a little piece of clay.
Yep.
And then once I get it to how I want it, I'll pinch the wing. And I'll pull it.
And then how do you decide where it goes?
I just pick a spot and
You
that's
just
where
go for it?
yeah.
And how many butterflies do you tend to put on your pieces?
Sometimes it'll be one, which you'll find in the back of my piece, which has become kind of my signature.
Okay.
But the pots that don't have it, that's the pot where the butterfly wing didn't make it. And I have to work around my mistake because the butterfly flew away on me. So I have to make the pot without the wing because then by then it's already dry. Yeah.
Is there a favorite kind of butterfly that you have?
I like the monarchs.
You like the monarchs? Have you ever seen them in real life?
I haven't.
You haven't?
No. But I always get people coming up to me and telling me, you have to go to the Butterfly Museum in Arizona. So I've never, when we go to the shows, we go to the show, but we never make time to really experience wherever we're at.
Yeah, shows are hard. They're work.
Yes.
And a lot of people forget that. That, shows are precisely that. And, artists have to be there at the crack of dawn setting up. They have to be there after hours. And it's a hard day. And it's a day where you don't get to make pots. You just have to talk about your pots and sell your pots.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of where a gallery comes in to help people, is because galleries provide that service for artists so that they have a place to show their work so that artists can continue to make.
Yes.
So we work together. We're like a team.
Yes.
Teamwork.
A very odd team, but a team.
Still works.
Whatever works.
And I'm going to put these on Alisha's.
Oh, yes, I'm painting a lizard. Yes. Thank you. I wish the paint would stay this color, but it changes in the fire, and it's so pretty when it goes on.
But you can kind of see it in the sunlight if you put it in direct sunlight.
All right, so I'm putting on some pieces on the screen right now that Alisha has just brought us today. So you can see the beautiful fine line work that she's able to do. The small plates, I would say, are 1.5 to 2 inches in diameter approximately, if I'm just guessing. And the large seed pot that's in there might be 5 inches in diameter approximately. And there's an amazing number of fine lines on each one of those pieces. And somehow Carolyn has been able to paint a whole lizard for us.
One big lizard here.
All right, let me adjust that. That's all right. I'm human. Yeah, I'm tethered for now. And you guys are welcome in to take a look.
Yes, you can.
We are.
We'll be happy to answer any questions.
Do you ever use pinstripe brushes?
What is that?
Pinstriping brush, they have long, soft bristles, and then the handle's real short, and you can spin it.
Oh, wow, no, I've never seen it. Never heard of the brush.
It wouldn't probably be that good for what you're doing.
Right.
Well, I mean, pinstripers do that on cars.
Oh,
So
maybe someday I'll get to paint a design on a car. Actually,
hey, I got a car. You could do mine.
right? I actually was asked to do that. It was on a vehicle, and this man, he says, "I really like your lizards. Do you think you can paint me a big lizard going over the hood of my car?" And I was like, that'd be pretty challenging, but
It would be kind of fun, though, right?
I think it would be fun, but
I mean, but the responsibility if you mess up on your lizard.
right.
Yep, this is if you can see him, this is our gallery dog. His name is Stout. He's a kind old man.
That is stout.
Hi, handsome. But it's really wonderful to see you guys work.
Yeah.
It
It's so
is
fun.
actually a very good thing to come back because it's showing back up in another hour to see how far they progressed is actually something that's really important.
It looks like the paint dries into the slip.
It does. Yes, yes. And that's when we add that juice to it, or the bee wheat plant, and that's it. It doesn't rub off.
You're not painting and finding your hand feels wet and you smudge the whole thing.
Yeah,
That would, yeah.
that would be very difficult, but no, it goes on there right away, and you can put your hand right on it, and it doesn't rub off. Yeah.
This is the part that tends to take me the longest, is putting the wings on. Depending on how many wings I put on, and then once it's dry and ready to paint, and I pick it up and look at it, I'm like, what was I thinking with so many
Yeah,
butterflies on
sure,
there?
you put a lot of butterflies on that piece.
So I do know that the monarch butterflies like to live on the California coast.
Oh, nice.
I do know that there's a place called Natural Bridges in Santa Cruz, California, where in the springtime they have hundreds of thousands to millions of monarchs. And it's a very cool thing to see.
I know that they were going extinct at one point. Yes.
And now also, and there's also an incredible butterfly museum that exists in Key West in Florida.
Oh, nice.
Where you can just kind of go into a butterfly atrium and they are everywhere.
Oh.
It is a very cool thing. So if you ever get the opportunity, I
Yes,
think it would be a
hopefully.
fun thing for you to see.
Yeah,
That sounds like fun.
Yep. That sounds fun.
I watched a documentary on monarchs years ago. Apparently they all migrate to Mexico for one
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's enormous, and it's millions of monarch butterflies.
Again. Every time I wait, she waits for me. So what are you making?
I'm making my butterfly wings to put on my plate. So when it dries, this is something.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
that
do you
it'll
call
look
it?
like. Then once they're dry, then I'll put the white slip on it, and I'll shine it. And then once I'm done with that, then I'll pick up my brush and I'll paint it. And then
Oh,
that's,
it looks
yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Boy, that's very intricate.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite TV show or radio program or music to listen to? Or do you guys like it quiet?
Oh, we like music.
You like what kind of music do you like to listen to when you work?
Any kind of music.
You're not picky?
But not hard rock. Anything else is good. Oldies.
Me, I tend to go back and forth. I'll watch a movie or a series or a documentary. And if I get bored with that, then I'll listen to something on YouTube or listen to music. I listen to everything.
Equal opportunity, right?
Or just the news.
Or the news. Or Amari.
Or my granddaughter.
Do you have any kids, Alisha?
I have one.
Okay.
My son, he's 22 this year.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, he recently got in with Albuquerque MT, so that's what he does.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Then his dad's at work today. He couldn't come. He got stuck. He works out there in Acoma. He's in law enforcement.
He's a what?
He's in law enforcement.
Oh, law enforcement? I bet there's a lot of very strange things that law enforcement get to deal with in the
I hear a lot.
I'm sure you do, and we're not going to talk about it.
Yes. You can't talk
I mean, I
about that.
can.
Yeah, but you kind of probably don't want to.
Right. We don't want to know that.
He'll probably get very upset.
So how many hours a day do you guys work? Generally,
Gosh,
on days when you do, and
My-
there's obviously
She's
days
more
you take
consistent.
off.
I'm an early bird.
You're an early bird.
Mine is anywhere from 5 to 6. I'll wake up and I'll sit there until about 8 o'clock. And then it's time to put the granddaughter on the bus, and I go right back to it for about another 2 hours. So constant, about 5 hours.
Okay.
And
And then are
it-
you done after that?
No. Then the evenings, I'll do what we need to do during the day. In the evenings, I'll pick it back up maybe for about an hour. So I like to just do the lining, and then sometimes in the evenings, I'll go back and then I fill in the parts that need to be filled in.
So do you enjoy the fill-in on the parts
I
in the evenings or in the mornings?
Anytime. I
Anytime?
just enjoy painting everything.
Probably
I-
the mornings for you.
The mornings is better, though. It's quiet.
And you can see better.
Yeah, daylight is my best light. Not with Derek's light today.
I know, apparently I messed up by not having a really good light.
It's okay.
So just as soon as the live show is over, I'm going to grab the ladder. And I'm
Yes.
going to get you guys some really good light. So I apologize for
No,
that.
that's
It's
okay.
my bad.
Yeah.
I get to be human today.
Right? You fit right in with us today.
Yeah.
Oh, and as Carolyn knows, I definitely make mistakes.
Yep. Yeah, we share those a lot.
So Acoma is about 2 hours from here.
This is about a 2-hour drive.
It's about
yes.
a 2-hour drive. You ladies are more than welcome to come take a look. This is Carolyn and Alisha, and this is Carolyn's work, and that's Alisha's. And that's sort of Carolyn's trademark as well, to have is some sort of three-dimensional.
Yes, that's what it is.
And how do you have such a steady hand?
I don't know. You should see the very first pots I did.
Well, we have one here that's an earlier one
I
of
saw
yours.
that. I don't look at that. Don't look at that, Derek. Why did you put that out? That's like how old?
Oh, we recently got in a very early, very basic seed pot by Dorothy Trevio
wow.
that has
Oh.
animals on it, which is before she
Wow.
did anything else. And it's really fun. It's fun to see how people grow and progress
Oh yeah,
and
the
change
work.
over the years.
Right. It makes you laugh when you look at your old work.
I know.
But I'm very thankful that I am still able to do this.
And done for the most part. It's very messy.
It's messy.
Yes.
Do you have like a set of messy clothes that you often wear
Yes.
when you're working?
I do. Especially when I know I'm going to make
Yep.
and I have to cut the nails real short, otherwise I'm digging into my clay. And it's getting stuck in there, especially when we make paint. It's stuck in,
Yes,
your fingers
in
are
your
stained for a few
nails.
days, yes. And if you get it in your clothes, that's even worse.
Potters never have beautiful hands or nails.
That's why I asked the question about lotion.
Yep.
Because you have to take care of your hands. I also do know several potters that use the wax dips
Oh,
to really
wow.
help their hands. The paraffin dips, or whatever
Yeah.
they're called. But everybody has their own unique method for
Yeah.
helping their skin.
They do.
So it seems like pottery is a very calm and tranquil kind of
It
process.
is. For me, it is.
Is it stressful at all?
No. The painting is, as you can see, I love it. I love painting them. Like I said, I don't like the processing of the clay, but once I get it there and I make my pots, then it's nice as a potter because like those are going to dry and I can get back to that. And then I can also do the painting and just line it and put this down, then bring it back and then put my color in and then go over it again. So it's just working. That's just how I work. And she tells me, you're jumping all over the place, but that's what I'm comfortable doing.
Do you generally do one piece at a time?
No,
Or
I'll work on like 6 pieces at a time because I get stuck on what I want to do when I'm designing a piece, especially the ones without the butterflies. I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, what am I going to put here? Otherwise, I'll be sitting there forever trying to figure out what's going to go there. So when I work on more than one piece, it helps me to kind of come up with an idea of, okay, this will look all right there. But that's what I do. And she's always telling me, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, she works on 6 pieces at one time.
and how many do you work on at a time,
I'll
Carolyn?
probably just do 2.
Just 2? How hard are you pressing when you polish, Alisha?
Not very hard. No.
It looks like it's
It's really
hard,
light.
but
Yes.
And do you have a favorite polishing stone?
I don't.
You
No,
don't?
I just whatever I find, except the big ones, because with the big ones, I tend to knock off my wings.
Uh-oh.
So the smaller ones always work for me. But it happens.
And I'm just going to check. Scott, are these all online? New this week, or just new? Yeah, no problem. And that should be good for what needs to come up at the moment. Oh, you've gotten everything photographed? Awesome. Will you, the ones that are most important are, because we have none are Alicia's to get online, so those just move in. All right, thank you. We all work together here, and Scott has actually finished photographing all of
Oh,
the
wow,
pieces
that's
that you guys brought
fast.
to
Oh,
us today.
nice.
And so probably in the next
you, Scott.
hour and a half or so, we'll have them all online for everybody at home to be able to look at.
thank you, Scott. Is
I
his
know,
name
he's a
Scott?
hard worker. It takes a village, right?
Yep,
Yep.
it sure does. Things get done when you work together.
Have you guys ever done a collaboration piece?
No, we haven't. I know Rebecca and Marilyn have, but no, we haven't. My work to Alicia's work, how am I going to collaborate with that? My designs will be a lot larger than hers.
That's okay. You do a half and half.
Yeah.
Or do one where there's, some playful animals on one side and a bunch of butterflies on the other.
That sounds interesting.
Or, there's lots of ways to be able to do it if that's something that you want. I mean, I can suggest all that you want, but you can also say you're an idiot. And that won't work. So,
That sounds fun.
yeah. I mean, you work together all the time, so,
Yeah.
maybe it would be fun to do one piece
Yes.
where it's the two of you.
That would be fun. We're we're always excited and looking on the side of the roads for the different colors of sands
Oh, I
that we
know.
can collect and strain. And like I said, you get many shades of the orange, but there's some really nice shades out there. And then I do a lot of mixing with my paints also.
So I do have a comment from online, which is from Elizabeth Westlake. Elizabeth says that she owns several of Carolyn's pieces, purchased every year at the Herd Indian Market. They're
nice.
so attractive, displayed in a group. So
Nice.
Nice. Well, thank you.
you have fans.
Oh, she
Well,
does.
I appreciate that. They're so fun. I wish I could talk to every person who has purchased a piece because I love to explain the designs and the meanings. But I'm very grateful to whomever takes a piece home.
Yeah, we are too. Mm-hmm. And we tease Carolyn about her case here.
I know, my gun case.
Well, no, the when it's you want the case in the front. Of
Oh,
it
my,
to be
yes.
yours.
Because I'm always asking, what are you having, a sale on my pottery?
Well, people seem to love your work, Carolyn, and for people who are beginning collecting pottery, they tend to lean towards Acoma Pueblo in general.
Well, that is nice for
Why, I
all the
don't know.
Acoma artists.
It's great for Acoma artists, and then they
Yes.
tend to expand out from there. I mean, that's not always the case. That's just kind of a very quick generality. And your work is kind of in a price point where it is able to be a very, very good introduction. And so lots of people who are starting collecting kind of begin with seed pots, mainly from your family.
Oh, well, that's nice to hear. Yes, there's many Acoma potters, and they all have their own style, and they do a lot of beautiful work on them. I admire all my sisters as well. Their work is very different.
Your work is a whole lot of fun.
Yes.
Well, for everybody who's out there, we've enjoyed the live portion of the demonstration that we have with Alisha and Carolyn, and we're so glad that everybody tuned in, and we're so thankful to have both Carolyn and Alisha here showing us their secrets and their tricks and everything else that they do, and
Yeah.
the giggling as well. It's always fun when we come in.
Yeah, be boring
And
without
so
giggles.
thank you very, very much. We appreciate you guys being here, and
Oh, you're
we
welcome.
appreciate it. And we're gonna get you guys some probably something to eat at this point, and we're gonna continue on with the demo here in the gallery. If anybody has any questions or anything else, just call the gallery, 505-986-1234. And we'll see you everybody again soon, and thank you so very much.
Bye-bye.